This is the Milky Way galaxy, and 5 billion years ago there existed a giant molecular cloud about 27,000 light years from the center of the Milky Way. The cloud was mostly made up of hydrogen and helium, with a small percentage of heavier elements formed from the death of past stars. About 4.6 billion years ago, a fragment of this molecular cloud, called the pre-solar nebula, started to collapse. As it collapsed, the gravity at its center started to get stronger, pulling more materials inside. Eventually, the gravitational energy at its center became so great that it started to glow. Our sun has finally arrived. Around the sun formed a flat, rotating disk of mostly gaseous material called a protoplanetary disk. Past a point called the frost line, between current-day Mars and Jupiter, these materials were far enough away from the sun to cool enough to form icy compounds, and within the next 10 million years, they would eventually clump together to form the gas giants. Closer to the sun, where the temperatures were too high for ice to form, most solid materials were made up of metals and rocks with high melting points. Over the next 90 million years, these materials clumped together and cleared out their orbits to form our terrestrial planets, including the Earth and the Moon. While the planets were forming, our sun was in the protostar stage, an early stage where it was powered by the heat generated as pressure built up in the center due to gravity. Eventually, 50 million years after its formation, the pressure at the sun's core got so great that hydrogen nuclei started fusing to create helium. This generated enough energy to counter gravitational contraction. The sun has finally reached its main sequence stage, where it'll be for most of its life. With the main sequence star and the planets formed, the stage was set for life to form 750 million years after. Fast forward 3.8 billion years, life slowly evolved into what it is today. 4.6 billion years after the sun formed, and here we are looking back in time to see where it all started. But it won't stay like this forever. In about 2.4 billion years, the sun will slowly heat up and expand. This will cause the habitable zone to shift out of the Earth's orbit, leaving the Earth inhabitable. In about 5 billion years, the sun will run out of hydrogen in its core and will start fusing helium, causing it to swell. At this point, the sun has left its mid-sequence stage and is now a red giant, expanding to the point where it consumes Mercury, Venus, and possibly even Earth. 7 billion years later, after it has fused all the fuel it has left, the sun will start shedding its mass, ejecting it out into the solar system. As the aging sun reaches its final breath, it leaves behind its core out in the form of a white dwarf. It slowly cools down for the next quadrillion years, and the solar system ceases to exist.